Hello and welcome back to another great episode of hashtag Screw the W2. And if my guest looks or sounds familiar, you may have seen him on a couple of my podcasts with the Wealth and Freedom Nexus back in episode, I think that was 3 and 45. So be sure to check that out. But Barry, welcome to the show.
Thank you, John. Good to have
Yeah.
you. Good to be on. Thanks for
Yeah, I'm
having me.
guessing it's a little warmer down in Mesa than it is here in Minnesota right now.
Exactly. I think we'll hit 100 degrees today.
Yeah, if we hit 50, that's going to be a, positive. So, but now, Barry, you've, shared on my Wealth and Freedom Nexus podcast, your journey, working as a life coach with, whole life policies and really helping, people become, financially independent. But taking a step back, can you kind of go back in time, so to speak, with my listeners? What was your last or previous W-2 job and what was that like?
Yeah. I've been an entrepreneur for a long time. My last W-2 job was actually in college. I
Okay.
was going to school at Utah State, studying guitar, studying music, and I was working a W-2 job testing exercise equipment. There was a big,
Really?
yeah, it was pretty cool. So it was a cool job. But I recognize obviously I wasn't going to be testing exercise equipment for the rest of my life. But I had this desire within me to be an entrepreneur, to be an investor, to be a real estate investor, etc. Because I saw my parents doing real estate, building spec homes, buying vacant
Hmm.
lots, buying property, and then doing flips and things like that. So I thought, at some point I want to do that. But the
Okay.
W-2 job was to help me get through college and really
Okay.
propel me forward. Yeah.
Gotcha. So with that, Barry, I know you mentioned with your parents' background, building spec homes, then obviously getting into real estate investing. Was it early in life that you kind of realized a W-2 job wasn't for you, or was there like a certain date of you were, I don't know, working on a treadmill and flipped over or something? You said that's it, or how did that come about?
And I really was working on a treadmill.
Okay.
So, you get that W-2 paycheck and you're usually so disappointed because you see all the taxes come out of that.
Yeah.
You're not
Who's this
making
FICA guy?
Here's FICA, exactly. And you end up with not as much as you had thought, but more than that, what really bothered me was I was committed time wise to this schedule. And that just isn't ingrained within me. I like my
Hmm.
freedom. I have my own company today and I have for years. I like my freedom. I want to be able
Yeah.
to go out and mountain bike when I want. I want to hit the gym when I want. I want to play guitar when I want. So I love the freedom aspect of not being a W-2 employee. So that was more of it than anything, John. The money was one thing or the
Sure.
lack thereof, but for me it was more about freedom and
Hmm.
time.
Sure.
Yeah, and lifestyle.
Yeah. No, you kind of echo what a lot of my other guests have said and myself as well. I like the time freedom. I can spend more time with my son. I can, we're going on a road trip here for about 2.5 weeks. I don't need to beg for time off or anything like that. It's just, my schedule basically. So, now, Barry, I won't, put you on the spot, to name your age or how many years ago that was in college. But looking back, was there like a plan that you had of, okay, as soon as I'm out of college, I'm going to be an entrepreneur, or as soon as I get my last class done, I'm just going to go become an entrepreneur, or what was that path like?
For me, it started in the world of music.
Okay.
I didn't have an intention right off the bat to be in financial services. I've played guitar for 35, almost 40 years. I've got a
Okay.
couple albums out there on iTunes and
Okay.
Spotify and YouTube. So I was headed down this path of, I'm going to make it big. I'm going to tour the world. And then I ended up having a family, and I have 5 children, and they're amazing, and I love spending time with them.
Hmm.
So I got into teaching, and I was the professor at a university, and
Okay.
uh, but all that was still independent. I still had some freedom relative to me teaching because I had a private practice with
Hmm.
teaching lessons and group classes, etc. But here's what happened: my summers would slow down teaching guitar. And I was like, what do I do? And
Mm-hmm.
that's when that investment bug kind of hit me. And I decided I was going to do two things. Number one, I was going to get into real estate investing. And two, I was going to get licensed in financial services.
Okay.
And when I discovered the power of high cash value whole life insurance, that really propelled me forward, and also the real estate side. So it was an exciting time, but I'll tell you, it was hard. So your
Mm-hmm.
listeners listening to this today are thinking, man, how do I get away from my W 2? But most of you, it's not going to happen overnight, but
Right.
you can do it.
Mm-hmm.
You look around, there are so many people out there that have broken away from a W 2. If they can do it, you can do it. It's absolutely possible. Discover your passions, discover,
Mm-hmm.
those things that you feel like you're good at or you want to do, and
Mm-hmm.
begin to work at it slowly, but don't quit your day job.
Right.
I think you're going to have it happen tomorrow.
Yeah. It's kind of funny you mentioned that, as a real estate investor, don't quit your day job. And I've seen this on the realtor side and see with other investors that they get to the closing table and like, wait a second, did you quit your job? Oh yeah, I quit 2 weeks ago. Well, that kind of derails this whole pre-approval for this property because we had your income factored in. And I say as a realtor, do not quit your job until after everything's signed.
That's right.
Now, you mentioned Barry, obviously, and it's been the most common answer, the time freedom, being able to do what you want, control your schedule, probably the biggest perk of the entrepreneurial journey. But looking back, is there anything you do miss or regret or kind of wish you had that you would have if you still were a W-2 employee?
Really good question. My answer right off the top of my head is no, I don't miss any of it. However, what comes to mind is people get hung up on benefits,
Yep.
right? The health insurance, the 401k match, etc. So yeah, there was some of that with the dental insurance and the medical insurance. That was great. Having 5 kids, there's a need for that.
Yeah.
But when you realize that you can make more money as an entrepreneur, and you lose the W-2 and you
Mm-hmm.
can pay for that yourself, yes, it's a little bit more expensive, but the overall benefit now of having the time freedom, of making more money,
Mm-hmm.
that far surpasses what I miss about anything.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, like you said, making more money, and like you and I have talked about with our businesses, if structured correctly, you can pay less in taxes. So people are like, well, gosh, I can't afford this. Put a number $12,000 a year insurance premium. It's like, well, is there a way to save $12,000 in taxes that you're making the same amount? You're just shifting it from Uncle Sam to cousin insurance or whatever name they go
That's
by.
right. Yeah. Yeah, that's huge. And what a lot of entrepreneurs end up doing is either setting up an LLC or an S corporation,
Mm-hmm.
and that allows them to pay less self-employment tax. Well,
Yeah.
that's one move of many that can happen, John.
Yeah.
And as you know, that one move alone frees up that money that then,
Mm-hmm.
yes, you can go purchase the other things, or you have more discretionary income to do the things you enjoy doing.
Exactly. Yeah. And as a business owner, I mean, obviously there's, neither of us are accountants, but there's ways you can structure the business where you earn money, then pay your health insurance premiums, and then pay taxes if there's anything left over. Whereas, even employees have found out, oh, gee, I'm not in that high deductible plan. I don't qualify for an HSA, or I'm tapped out for uh, refunds or tax credits or whatnot. There's a lot more flexibility as an entrepreneur than there is an employee.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, but well, as we close this out, Barry, and again, I want to thank you for taking the time to, join me and my listeners. I call this I've started dubbing it the hashtag unscrewed moment. But if there's anyone that wants to, reach out to you, see what you're up to, or if there's any new projects or new things with your business that you want to share with my listeners.
Yeah. So you can go to focuswealthgroup.com or
Okay.
go to YouTube and check out any of my webinars. I've got a lot of content out there on high cash value, infinite banking policies. And John, I teach people how to grow money guaranteed,
Mm-hmm.
be their own bank, and then grow that money tax free. So we're talking about taxes, holding on to more of your money. What I help clients with across the country are those benefits and many more. So they can check out Barry Brooksby Infinite Banking on YouTube or focuswealthgroup.com.
Okay. And selfless plug, if you go to wealthandfreedomnexus.com, I have a section solely to focus group and infinite banking as well. But I'll put all those links in the show notes for people to click on and check out. So Barry, as always, it's been great to catch up and hope you enjoy the warm weather down in Arizona.
Thank you, John. Appreciate you having me.